The Glass and Steel Citadel, a tale of ambition, betrayal, and resilience. Hanoi, at 9 a.m. on a weekday, is a fiercely competitive arena. Nowhere is this more apparent than the central business district CBD around the Vincom Betrayal Tower, an unspoken battlefield where every luxury car, expensive suit, and calculating gaze serves a single, clear objective: power and profit. Ha Thu stepped out of the tower's revolving glass doors, her lotus pink sheath dress, hugging her elegant frame and fair skin, effortlessly drew the admiring glances of passers-by. A top-tier senior real estate consultant, there was a sales general commanding a monthly income in the hundreds of millions of Vietnamese Hun. She understood her value lay in a potent mix of beauty, sharp intellect, and professional status. Yet, beneath this glamorous exterior, she was struggling against the silent pressure from her powerful head of department, Mrs. Trying. The phone rang, displaying the contact name, the which Thu frowned in annoyance. It was Mrs. Trying. Have you prepared the documents? I need to head to the corporation meeting soon. Mrs. Tring's heavy, commanding voice boomed. Thu replied with a tone that was polite yet firm. I have to take a client to view a model apartment first thing this morning. She hung up, muttering under her breath. The vultures are circling already. The unraveling thread of deceit. A sleek, ivory-white BMW i8 pulled up gracefully beside her. Tung, the wealthy real estate developer and Thu's secret lover, was behind the wheel. Thu smiled, displaying her brand new amber watch. You gave it to me last week. Do you like it? Tung's eyes, however, were fixed on Thu's legs. The short dress rode higher as she sat down, and his right hand quickly found its way onto her thigh as he navigated the crowded streets toward GCS Viet Road. Thu laughed, but inside, a quiet turmoil brewed. She'd sought out this affair not just for Tung's charm or wealth, but for validation outside her own cold, distant marriage. Their destination was a model apartment in the T Quang Biu area. As they turned onto the street, Tung slammed on the brakes. A sudden screech was heard as two women on a scooter swerved across his hood, blocking their path. Before Tung could react, the passenger door was yanked open. Thu was hauled out by her hair. A storm of curses and physical blows rained down upon her, leaving her disoriented. Her dress was ripped open. The two furious women, Tung's wife and sister-in-law, yelled and announced to the gathering crowd that they had caught the homewrecker. In the ensuing chaos, Thu could only shield her head. Tung committed the ultimate act of betrayal. He didn't intervene. Instead, he quickly reversed, turned the car around, and sped away, abandoning Thu to the spectacle. The ordeal only ended when a local police patrol car arrived. Humiliated and stripped bare in broad daylight, Thu was given a sun protective jacket by a kind woman to shield herself from the smartphone cameras recording the public shaming. That tsunami of the social web. Returning to our office, Thu immediately sensed something was wrong. From the janitor to the security guard, everyone was glued to their phones, pointing and whispering. She felt the weight of every gaze, particularly from the male staff. A young intern quietly showed her a screen. The clip of you being assaulted in the Bok Koa area this morning is going viral. Thu was horrified to see screenshots of her undressed, with circles and arrows highlighting her underwear, accompanied by thousands of lewd comments. Her personal page was under brutal attack, forcing her to temporarily deactivate it. The collapse, she realized, wasn't just physical. It was a devastating cyber assault. Back from her meeting, Mrs. Trying walked past Thu's desk, her expression somber. Without looking at Thu, she uttered a chilling, razor-sharp sentence. If you have the courage to steal, you must have the courage to face the consequences. This was more than a moral judgment. It was a professional elimination. Thu understood. Mrs. Trying was using the scandal to corner her and seize her sales portfolio. After everyone had left, Thu wrote her resignation letter. She collected her personal belongings. Her greatest fear now was her husband's reaction. As she waited for a taxi, a sad song drifted from a nearby cafe, stuck between a rock and a hard place, wandering without a home. The prepared wrath. Thu's husband, a construction engineer, usually returned late. This afternoon, however, he received a message from a friend with the video link. Watching the clip, his face drained from red to ashen. He immediately took emergency leave. At home, he was re-watching the clip on his computer, muttering curses, before grabbing a nearly empty bottle of Western liquor and starting to drink. When Thu entered the apartment, she recoiled from the acrid smell of alcohol and cigarettes. She gently approached to tidy up, but as she reached for the bottle, Thu looked up. His eyes were burning with pure rage. Drunk yet deadly accurate, he grabbed Thu's hair, slammed her against the wall, and delivered a slap. With a cold smirk, he sneered, "Now you're a celebrity across the entire web. How could I ever be seen with you?" He shoved a pre-written divorce paper and a pen into her hand. "Sign this and get out of my sight." Thu signed, weeping. As she reached the door, she heard a crash behind her. Thu had thrown the liquor bottle, shattering their wedding photo, hanging on the wall. Thu fled, crying hysterically, for throwing away her marriage for a blindingly foolish affair, a new alliance and a billion-dollar secret. Thu spent a fitful night at the home of her best friend, Hanoi, a pragmatic, energetic, and free-spirited woman working for the state-owned construction and design corporation to CT. Hanoi comforted her, advising her to stay put and focus on finding a new job, offering to introduce her to a trusted real estate agency. Thu's biggest fear, however, was her parents finding out. "If my father in the countryside hears about this, I'm dead," Hanoi scoffed. "What are you worried about? Folks in the village don't use Facebook." Just then, Thu's phone rang. "Mom," as Thu answered. Her mother's frantic voice burst through the line. "What have you done to get beaten and posted all over the internet? The whole village is buzzing." Hanoi immediately realized the scandal had become a community crisis. Over coffee, Thu confessed the entire, ill-fated affair with Tung. He had been a client she aggressively pursued to meet a quarterly sales target, and their relationship escalated from professional consultations to discreet hotel rendezvous. Her deepest resentment was Tung abandoning her to save his luxury car. Meanwhile, Tung was also having coffee, explaining his cowardice to a friend. "I panicked. I was scared my crazy wife would smash the car windows. It would have cost me tens of millions. When they opened the door, I saw a gap behind me, put the car in reverse, and bolted. Better to run from a buffalo than an angry wife." He admitted his wife usually forgave him, as long as he didn't touch the money. But the beating was a warning shot to any potential mistresses. Tung's actions were driven by a chillingly calculated self-preservation, sacrificing Thu's reputation to protect his assets and freedom to cheat. The price of access, power in the first line. Hanoi, Thu's friend, was not just an employee at CT. She was a lower-level power player. She confided in Thu about the nearly 9,000 billion Vietnamese dongs billion-dollar project for rural irrigation system consolidation, funded by the World Bank and UNDP. Hanoi's power came from Mr. Quyen, the general director, an old, womanizing man who held the sole authority to sign and disperse funds. Hanoi's strategy was to use her charm and quick payment processing to secure illicit profits, symbolized by her brand new red Lexuses. Hanoi was in a turf war with Mrs. Min, the chief accountant, and Mr. Quian's former mistress, Mrs. Min, the system spy, controlled information and cash flow. Bitterly resenting Hoi's rapid ascent, Hoi shamelessly exploited her physical appeal. In a private meeting, she subtly unbuttoned her top to expose her cleavage. "Should we head to Betrayal Inn for the meeting with the Korean partner this afternoon?" Mr. Quian asked, his eyes fixated on her. Hoi accepted the trade-off, knowing her lavish car and power came from selling her dignity and body. The geological frequency of vengeance. After a week, Thur decided to rebuild her life. Social media, as Hoi predicted, quickly moved on. Thur found a job with a large real estate group, focusing on luxury apartments overlooking Westlake. At a sales event, she saw Tung. He approached her, asking why she hadn't returned his calls. Thur looked him dead in the eyes, seeing only a cowardly wretch beneath the handsome facade. With chilling contempt, she said, "If you need further consultation, please go to table number 3. She walked away, the wrong relationship finally behind her. Her family crisis, however, lingered. Her mother called, mentioning her father had calmed down and asked about the divorce. Sneaking back to her apartment to retrieve her belongings, Thur opened her bedroom door and found them having sex with a strange woman on their marriage bed. The man who had condemned her as a cyber celebrity was retaliating through the cruelest form of self-destruction. Thur felt only a cold sense of clarity. His hatred had proven the marriage was beyond saving. Back at TCT, Hoi was desperate. Mrs. Min was obstructing disbursements, trying to prove Hoi had manipulated the land valuation model for the billion-dollar project to inflate prices for a shell company. "I can't decipher the model," Hoi confessed. "It's too complex, using outdated financial algorithms, but protected by a mysterious encryption key." Thur, looking at the diagram Hoi had stolen, had a flash of insight, remembering a story about a geological frequency used as a cipher. "It's not a financial algorithm," Thur said. "It's a geological frequency. It's an old engineering trick to hide corruption." The office drama had shifted into a high-stakes battle of code-breaking against systemic greed. Thur, using her pain and experience, was now the unlikely specialist needed to save her friend. Cracking the code and the final betrayal. Thur and Hoi formed an uneasy alliance. Hoi provided raw data on geological survey reports, foundation depths, and soil descriptions. Thur realized the encryption key wasn't a password, but the vibration frequency of the cohesive clay layer at a depth of 10 meters, a physical parameter that Mrs. Min had tampered with to falsely inflate the land's value. After 3 days, Thur found the geological encoding frequency. When she applied it to Mrs. Min's model, the system broke, automatically revealing a hidden document: Land Value Manipulation Plan Phase 1, Welfare Project. The document proved that Mrs. Min and Mr. Quian planned to inflate land prices by 5 times their true value to siphon profits from the 9,000 billion VND project. Just as they were printing the evidence, Tung called Hoi's phone. His voice was frantic. "Thur, I need to see you. Mrs. Min is after me. She knows about us and wants to use me to neutralize you." Tung confessed that Mrs. Min offered him a construction contract in the project in exchange for sabotaging Thur. He claimed to have files proving Mrs. Min's chain of shell companies. He wanted to trade this evidence for Thu's promise of silence about his cowardice and his new connection to Mrs. Min. Thur and Hoi met Tung. He gave her a USB with Mrs. Min's payment records. In return, he begged for safety from both the law and Mrs. Min. Thur stated his safety lay in justice prevailing and demanded he be ready to testify. Then, the ultimate surprise arrived. Mrs. Trying the head of department, approached their table. She wasn't there to fight. She was there to manipulate. I heard you've been busy manipulating data at the corporation, Mrs. Trang said, turning to Tung. Mrs. Min is disappointed. You betrayed our secret agreement, Mrs. Trang revealed. She was working with Mrs. Min and Mr. Quian, or perhaps a larger, more anonymous organization that they only served. She demanded the USB and Thu's decoded model in exchange for a high-ranking position elsewhere. In a panic, Tung lunged for the USB. Mrs. Trang immediately signaled, and two plainclothes men grabbed him. Tung, you broke the chain of command. You're worthless. Mrs. Trang took the USB, no longer needing Thu, only wanting to eliminate the evidence. The chaos frequency. Trapped, Thu and Hoey fled into the crowded commercial center, and then down into the underground metro station. They found refuge in a damp maintenance tunnel deep beneath the city, a maze of fiber optic cables and pipes. In a moment of vulnerability, Hoey confessed, I used you, Thu. I was greedy. I wanted your sharp mind to bring down Mrs. Min and take her position. Thu nodded. I know. We both chase greed and power. But now we have something more valuable. The truth. Deep underground, Thu remembered a technical detail. TCT's backup data system was located right beneath this central station. On Hoey's laptop, they only had one weapon left, the geological frequency model. Thu realized the 9,000 billion VND project wasn't about irrigation. It was about building a hidden control network, using the new pipelines as sensors, a system for optimized power, HDQTQL. They couldn't expose the system, but they could break it. Thu decided to inject a reverse frequency, the chaos frequency, into the underground cable network. Just then, Hoey's phone rang. It was Than, Thu's ex-husband. Hoey, I know what's happening. Mrs. Trang has mobilized the internal security team to lock down the underground area. I used to draw some of those old steel structure maps. I can show her a secret escape route. Than admitted his drinking and divorce were partly driven by the pressure of keeping these secrets. He wanted to help Thu because he was tired of his own cowardice. Thu took the phone. Than sent a coded escape diagram, an old storm drain leading to the Red River. With only 10 minutes before Mrs. Trang's team found them, Thu plugged a specialized cable into the main fiber optic box. She typed, algorithm, reverse geological frequency, code, chaos_9000_VN. The moment she pressed enter, a high-pitched electronic screech echoed through the corridor. The lights flickered. On her screen, Mrs. Min's land valuation model became a scramble of nonsensical numbers. The HDQ-TQL system was paralyzed. Hoey dragged Thu toward the storm drain. Than's escape route. Go. Overcoming the night, Thu and Hoey scrambled down the narrow, cold drain. They emerged near the Red River embankment, where Than was waiting in a construction truck to conceal their escape. As the truck sped away, they saw the lights of Mrs. Trang's vehicle stopping at the drain exit. The next morning, the official news was silent on the sabotage. But a headline shook the city. The entire 9,000 billion VND project's data had suffered a severe system error. The geological parameters were scrambled, forcing a complete re-evaluation of all land valuation and capital allocation. Thu's chaos frequency had worked perfectly. Far away, in the mountains, Thu, Hoey, and Than met. Than, now hunted by Mrs. Trang, gave Thu one last USB containing the technical blueprints of the CBD's underground network, the evidence of systemic corruption. Hoey decided to abandon her corporate path. Than offered to be their technical consultant, finally choosing honesty over cowardice. Thu, who had lost her dignity and marriage, found a new mission. She rejected Hoey's idea of an anti-corruption technical firm. Instead, she proposed a fair value consulting company. They would use their knowledge of geology, real estate, and systemic corruption to ensure public projects were correctly valued. Ha Thu had shed her lotus pink dress and the glamour of income. She was no longer a victim of a corporate affair, but a pioneer in a far more challenging fight, rebuilding integrity in the business world, one valuation at a time. The office war was over, but Ha Thu's journey to reclaim her honor had just begun.